Why, Gary, your meat is so big. That's a doozy right there. This is a barn burner. Big pork loin. I've washed it and patted it dry. And most people like to use a pork butt. But when you find an 11-pound one of these on sale for $1.99, I mean, they got good fat caps and stuff on them too. So, I like to brown these, brine these overnight. I didn't really have time this time, didn't know I was making it until the last minute. So I usually do that in half apple cider and half vinegar. Our binder is going to be hot sauce and mustard. So that should give us that vinegary twang we like. Get some paper towel ready and get in here and get our hands dirty. Yeah, but there's really no replacement for brining, but for speed, I think this here is the only way. The whole process is going to be, we're going to coat it with our dry rub. We're going to bake it at 350 for about 3 hours, 2.5. Then we're going to smoke it for, I don't know, an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever I can get by with until it's time for us all to eat. You can use anything you got. I like this Bold Memphis rub here. I think it's real good. But don't worry, you can't even taste the hot sauce. It's not hot on there when it's done. I know some of you have trouble with heat. But I like Frank's, the Kirk's hot sauce from Save-A-Lot's not that bad either. My boy likes it real well. I don't clean my kitchen soon. I believe a rat's gonna pack me off. I've got to go do some auto body work here as soon as I get this in the oven. I think I run more sick and retired than I did when I was working, for sure. But don't worry if you get a little bit too much of either one on there. It'll all work in before it's over. And then you're gonna pull it, you're gonna slather it with barbecue sauce. It's something you don't really need to be afraid of. A lot of it takes care of itself. I had a little pinhole in my foil tin here. I'm gonna patch it before we get going. Because this thing is not gonna fit on a baking pan. Now when we pull this out of the oven, and I get the loin off here on a cutting board and start shredding it, I like to take the juice off this, and I set it to the side and I let the grease clabber on top and I spoon it off. The secret to a good moist barbecue sauce ain't just dumping it full of barbecue to where you can no longer taste the meat. It is I like to add the meat juice back until we get a good moisture content on our pulled pork. Lord, look at this animal. And this is one of the big sheets, so anything bigger won't fit in the oven. All right, we've been on smoke now for about 20 minutes. We're probably going to let it go for another 40. Let it dry out some, let it absorb some smoke. And toward the end, I'll probably crank up the pressure a little bit. That way I can get a little bit of char on both sides of it. But it's looking pretty tender, to say the least. All right, I believe we're smoked up. We'll give her an hour and a half. She's pretty dried out, feeling pretty good. Should be ready to shred. Let's get her inside and see what we can do with that. All right, we've got some good smoke on there. Boy, that's good. I don't even need no barbecue sauce there. So, the reason I bake first when I'm in a hurry is you get this stuff so tender, there's really no pulling to it. I mean, great sandwich. Basically just got to use a knife to get to the next piece. But you can use a blender, 2 forks. Insulated gloves probably work good. Those silicone ones like you work on fires and stuff with. I just used old calloused hands. So I'm gonna go through this and I'm gonna get all right. Got our pork picked. Wow, this looks good. So we're gonna hit it with a pint, 2 of our little jelly jars here of honey chipotle barbecue sauce that's homemade here. Out of pints from Sharing. Hang my phone up. All right, and the reason I said save the juice and strain it, right here's the grease I got off that. I just stick it in my upright deep freezer. So we're gonna add some of this back to our barbecue sauce for some moisture. Probably about a whole cupful. We may add a little more. I got like a 10-quart bowl here, and it is too small. All right, here's what we got, finished product. What I did, I ended up adding about, I guess, a pint of barbecue sauce and close to a pint of that meat drippings we kept. That's hard to guard right there. And I added about an extra capful of apple cider vinegar. But if I hadn't did that right in front of you guys, nobody would have ever noticed that I didn't brine that, or how I binded it, or that I baked it instead of smoking it the whole time. To each their own. But when you get behind and you need speed, right there.